Denver is adding 8,000 housing units to one corridor. That's like dropping 3 entire neighborhoods into the city. But here's the thing. Most people think that this solves Denver's housing crisis. It doesn't. The River Mile project creates a winner-loser map across Denver. And if you're in Lodo, Rhino, or downtown, you need to see this. I'm Landon Smith, a realtor and Denver native, and I've been living here for almost my entire life. And today I'll break down the timing, the pricing pressure, and which areas are about to explode in value. So what is the River Mile? Okay, so picture Stan Kroenke worth $21 billion buying sole control of 62 acres in Denver's core, then planning towers with no height limits. So this 62-acre site is currently occupied by Elitch Gardens theme park, located along the South Platte River between downtown Denver and Ball Arena. Revesco Properties, they were backed by Stan Kroenke, and they purchased the property back in 2015 for $140 million. But then in June of 2025, Kroenke Sports and Entertainment bought out Revesco to gain full ownership and streamlining control of this operation. Obviously, I don't want Elitches to go away, right? If you're like me, it's where maybe you've gone to go have a lot of fun, right? With those that you love or friends growing up. I think of middle school field trips, different things like that. But that's the reality of what we're looking at. This is going to happen, you guys. Denver City Council approved the project unanimously in December of 2018. But in the comments below, just for memory's sake, tell me your favorite ride at Elitch's that you've loved as a kid. For me, it's the Sidewinder. Absolutely love that ride. Leaves your stomach like 20 feet above you as you drop. All-time favorite ride at Elitch's. But anyways, let's keep going here. So what they're thinking about doing is transforming an aging amusement park into a dense, walkable urban neighborhood. And that's a huge shift for this corridor. So it'll take $130 million just for the South Platte River restoration to occur. That's a part of this project. That includes narrowing and deepening the river, creating wetlands along 36 stormwater outfalls, and adding whitewater recreation features. And somehow they're gonna have to do this while 2 light rail stations already exist on site, right? The Ball Arena and Elitch Gardens station and Empower Field station are both there serving the D, E, H, and W lines with trains every 15 minutes to Union Station. So I'm not sure how that's all gonna work out. Also, this whole idea of the River Mile, it links and is adjacent to the Ball Arena redevelopment, which is another massive project that I've mentioned in previous videos. And altogether, they control 117 acres. But the whole thing's going to expand downtown Denver by 40% over the next several decades. And as a part of this is kind of where I come in, right? And why I'm talking about it is because 8,000 residential total units are coming. Mixed apartments, condos, and townhomes is mainly what we'll get out of this. And also they're gonna have schools, daycare, community center, restaurants, retail, and entertainment venues as all part of this plan. So we're gonna have 15 million square feet of total development with some of Denver's tallest buildings planned, with buildings of 40 to 60 stories mentioned in the plans. And this is gonna impact values right around these areas. And so we're going to talk about which neighborhoods will feel the most pressure, because in this market, timing does matter. And overall, this is going to be a 20 to 30 year build out costing billions of dollars. Also, good news, Elitch Gardens will continue operating until construction phases require the land. And Kroenke Sports Entertainment has been investing in the park, with 2 signature roller coasters reopened in summer of 2025. And phase 1 will be starting soon with parking structures on current surface lots. Then residential towers following in later phases. And if you look at the combined development between Ball Arena and the River Mile, there's 6,000 plus units that will be added. So you're looking at roughly 14,000 total new units in this I-25 corridor. When you see how big this really is, it changes how you think about Denver real estate over the next 10 years. When thousands of new homes go into one area, supply and demand change. Prices, timing, and buyer choices shift in ways most people don't expect. So let's talk about what that really means for the market. So we're gonna have a supply surge here of 15,000 future residents. That will create, a lot of jobs as far as, the need for coffee shops, gyms, grocery stores. The River Mile is going to create demand while flooding some of the supply. So more supply generally creates downward price pressure. All else being equal, especially in the luxury segment where River Mile units will compete. So high-end River Mile units will pull buyers away from other urban neighborhoods like Lodo, Rhino, and Cap Hill. So this luxury condo segment is going to face the most direct competition since River Mile's riverfront location and new construction appeal to the same buyer profile. Also, if you're in downtown or Lodo, these face direct competition for urban buyers seeking walkable, high-rise living and newer River Mile inventory that really could slow appreciation in existing luxury buildings. And then as far as Rhino and Five Points go, currently hot neighborhoods offer similar urban vibes, but with older warehouse conversions. So River Mile's brand new construction could pull buyers away from there too. In comparison to Highland and Lohi, I know these established neighborhoods with charm, mature trees, and strong community identity, they likely maintain premium pricing because they offer a different lifestyle than high-density River Mile. So if city prices stabilize or drop slightly due to increased inventory, suburban buyers might see less pressure, making suburbs relatively more attractive for families seeking space. Construction starts in 2026, but meaningful inventory won't hit the market until 2027 to 2028. When first units deliver. In these early phases, the first 1,000 to 2,000 units will see strong pent-up demand from buyers who've been waiting for the new riverfront options to arrive. But I think that between years 5 and 15 of the build-out is when steady supply pressure becomes most visible. And this is when buyers purchasing downtown luxury condos right now need to ask themselves, will this property compete with River Mile units in 3 to 5 years? If you're buying in Denver today, you need to evaluate whether your property will face direct competition from River Mile inventory hitting the market in the next few years. Therefore, properties with unique character, historic charm, or established neighborhoods may hold value better than generic luxury high-rises built in the last decade. So while the River Mile does change the whole market, not every neighborhood feels it to the same degree. So let's break down who benefits and who might face some challenges. When 8,000 new homes hit one area, the neighborhoods closest will feel it the most. And that's where the biggest changes are going to happen. So here's who's set up to win and who's about to face some real competition. Sun Valley and the Auraria areas immediately adjacent to the River Mile, literally sharing borders with the development site. So current homeowners could see property values rise 30 to 50% over the next 5 to 10 years, which is a huge equity opportunity for owners. Lodo is facing direct competition for luxury buyers since River Mile offers similar walkability, transit access, and urban amenities. River Mile's riverfront location is a differentiator that Lodo can't match, so buyers choosing between the two may pick newer River Mile units. And as far as Rhino and Five Points goes, these are Denver's current hot urban locations right now with warehouse conversions, street art, breweries, and creative culture. The River Mile offers a similar urban vibe to those areas, but with brand new construction, modern amenities, and riverfront access. This could slow appreciation rates in Rhino as buyers are split between established creative districts or the shiny new River Mile. Cap Hill and Cheeseman Park offer different buyer profiles. And, they're more walkable, they're historic, established neighborhoods with character and charm. River Mile appeals to buyers seeking modern high-rises, while Cap Hill attracts those wanting Victorian homes and tree-lined streets. These neighborhoods face less direct competition, but overall, increased supply helps moderate price growth. So charm and established characters provide natural differentiation from River Mile's high-density towers. So in the Highlands or Lohi, as established, they have mature neighborhoods with strong identity, family orientation, and walkable commercial corridors that are going to set those apart. Now, if we talk about Cherry Creek or Wash Park, those are also premium neighborhoods with entirely different appeals. Large single-family homes, established wealth, luxury buyers tend to choose these areas and prioritize the space, the privacy, the outdoor nature around it, and the prestige over the urban density life. So the River Mile is unlikely to significantly impact these submarkets because the buyer seeking a $2 million Cherry Creek estate isn't cross-shopping for River Mile condos. So these are definitely in their own category and largely immune to River Mile supply surge. Looking at neighborhoods and the vibe that these neighborhoods have really shows you where this density is going to hit. But the biggest debate around River Mile is who can actually afford to live there. That 15% affordable housing rule sounds pretty good at first, but once you see what affordable actually means in Denver, it gets more complicated. So let's break down the numbers. Denver's median household income sits around $85,000, which puts residents in a squeeze. Too high for River Mile's affordable units and too low for market rate comfort. Denver requires 15% of River Mile's units to be assigned as affordable, which equals 1,200 units out of about 8,000 total. So affordable is relative, ranging from 30% to 80% of area median income. And that's a huge spread. Okay, so we're going to break down the affordability here. So the area median income is something that HUD uses to establish what the affordable housing income can be. So a two-person household, 100% area median income would be $112,000. And then 80% area median income is about $83,000, which qualifies for affordable units. And that puts affordable rent, around $1,576 per month for a one bedroom. And then, 60% of area median income or $2,102 for 80% of area median income. So market rate units are likely running $2,500 to $4,000 per month based on comparable luxury riverfront buildings. But these affordable housing units could be anywhere from $1,576 to $2,102, according to what we think are going to be the calculations. So therefore, if we look at the market rate units that aren't affordable housing, they're going to require household incomes of $100,000 to $150,000 plus to comfortably afford rent or mortgage payments in those areas. And affordable units target households earning $50,000 to $80,000 basically. So this is the affordability squeeze hitting cities nationwide, and River Mile doesn't solve it despite adding 1,200 affordable units. And I know a lot of residents that are in Sun Valley, Baker, Lincoln Park are worried about gentrification pressures. Rising property values mean rising property taxes, which can force longtime homeowners out, even if they own the place outright without a mortgage. And so renters face even more pressure as landlords sell properties to developers or raise rents to match the area's new market rates. Also, there is regulation on community benefits agreements and protections that tend to be pretty critical in preventing wholesale displacement. But enforcement on those things sometimes can be a little weak. Investors come in, they buy stuff out, and then it raises the prices for everyone. So 1,200 affordable units, although it's not a ton, it's better than zero. It's a meaningful contribution to Denver's affordable housing stock. However, it's still only 15% of all the total units. And the majority of River Mile will be market rate, higher price stuff, which does contribute to gentrification. So Denver actually needs 31,000 to 49,000 new housing units by 2028 just to close the current deficit and meet population growth. So the developers are arguing that they are absolutely helping this cause and adding supply and meeting the 15% affordability requirement. You and I are looking at this saying there's a concern that 15% isn't enough as far as affordability housing goes. And the majority of the units will accelerate gentrification in a big way. And I think that the market reality is that both can be true. It does help. It does provide some release there from the affordability, but it's probably not enough, for the demand and for the population size that we have here. That needed supply that the River Mile brings and affordable units are great, but it also drives displacement, people leaving the city, and raises costs in a big way for those that are here. And so while affordability is complicated, River Mile won't fix all of Denver's housing problems by itself. And if you're buying, selling, or investing, you still need clear, practical advice on how to position yourself in this market. So let's break that down. What does this mean for you? If you own a luxury condo downtown that was built in the last 10 years, the 2027 and 2028 River Mile timeline matters a great deal to you. It's a clear signal to think about the timing of this, because you're either selling before the new competition shows up, or you're betting that your unit stands out and can surpass what they're going to build there. Downtown luxury condos may face headwinds as River Mile units hit the market, and negotiating could be extremely difficult. And so you definitely don't want to overpay right now for one of those units. If you get a killer deal, could be great. Could be something that you'll want to hold for the long term, but you may take a loss on it as the competition arrives. Also, neighborhoods that have unique character, like Cap Hill, like Wash Park, like the Highlands, they're a safer bet because they offer something that the River Mile can't replicate. And if you love your urban high-rise living and can wait, it might make sense to wait for River Mile units to deliver in 2027 and 2028. And so, if you were considering a place in Lodo or Rhino, it may make sense to wait until those new ones hit, where you have more incentives, most likely. Could be interest rate incentives or other types of incentives that make it more worthwhile. And remember that the first units aren't going to hit until 2027 or 2028. So you have a couple of years to prepare, get financially ready for when that hits. Prices may be higher initially as demand outpaces the supply, but then normalize in years 5 through 10 of the build out. Ballerina's Phase 1A delivers around 300 units by 2032. That offers another luxury option if River Mile is oversubscribed. Other things that may be exempt from this competition may be historic buildings, rare layouts, or exceptional amenities that you have within your buildings that may hold value better than the cookie cutter luxury condos. If you have a home and you have equity in it in Sun Valley, Baker, or Lincoln Park, it's about to grow significantly as River Mile transforms the area. So you may face increased holding costs through higher property taxes, so plan accordingly or consider selling to investors and developers in the next 2 to 3 years. This is a prime opportunity to capture equity gains before the market fully adjusts. These areas are basically ground zero for appreciation as River Mile develops. So investors with longer timelines of 10 plus years can ride the full development wave and capture significant appreciation. Also, oversupply in the luxury segment is possible during years 5 through 10 of the build out if demand softens. There's absolutely construction fatigue that starts to happen. 20 to 30 years is a very long time, and market conditions can change drastically during that time. We'll see interest rates go up and down. We'll see the price of oil and gas go up and down. There's all kinds of things that can happen in the course of a year, let alone 20 to 30 years. River Mile affects everyone in different ways, depending on where you sit in the market. But to really get it, we need to zoom out and look at what this means for Denver's future as a city. That's where it gets interesting. So here's the bigger picture. River Mile actually just earned the first wedge verification west of the Mississippi for its river work. And that's not just an environmental win. It sets a new standard for how U.S. cities rebuild old industrial areas. The River Mile represents a philosophical shift. Denver is growing up, not out. This should be better for the environment. It reduces traffic. It promotes walkability compared to sprawling suburbs. So Denver is aligning more with cities like Seattle, like Portland, like San Francisco, prioritizing its urban cores over suburban expansion. The River Mile combined with Ballerina redevelopment and Empower Field at Mile High creates a new urban core along I-25 that will exist in the coming decades. And if you look at a satellite picture now compared to what you'll see in 15 years, it'll be unrecognizable, with high-rises, transit, parks, and entertainment replacing parking lots and industrial sites. I see it as a historic opportunity for Denver to build a world-class urban district. Also, RTD light rail access is going to be a game changer for River Mile, with 2 stations already on site. So walkability and bike infrastructure are being prioritized with trails and sidewalks. This is probably going to reduce car dependency significantly for a lot of people that will just use public transportation once this project's done. And it'll make the River Mile one of Denver's most transit-oriented neighborhoods. So if you're thinking about making an investment, right, in the next 20 to 30 years, this is where your head may want to be at, right? We're in the early phases, and usually people in the early phases, they make the most money down the road, and they have the most market impact that they see. And so long-term, River Mile fundamentally reshapes Denver housing and the transit patterns and the urban identity, which could be a very good thing to get on the front end of. So buyers and investors need to think in phases: years 1 through 5, years 5 through 15, and years 15 through 30. All bring very different market dynamics. Exact pricing for market rate units hasn't been released yet, so we're estimating based on comparable projects. So the River Mile isn't just changing one area, it's changing how Denver grows for the next generation. When 8,000 new homes come online between now and 2050, every neighborhood, every price range, and every buyer strategy shifts. If you're buying, selling, or investing in Denver and you want to understand how River Mile affects your specific situation, call me or text me on this number right here, and I will absolutely make sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Now, if you want to keep up with the River Mile and any other developments here in Denver, I'll be covering everything as it happens, sharing my knowledge of years in this market so that you can make the best decisions. So go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any of the updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.